All right, today heading off to work. First day back in like 2 weeks after our move, and I've got 6 hours of lessons today. One of them might not come through for a clinic, but gonna get some paddle testing in today. I've got, I think, 8 or 9 paddles with me, so I'll give you a little bit more of a preview on that once we get to Downsview. But it's going to be like 45 degrees Celsius with the humidity today in Toronto, so I'm very thankful that I get to be playing indoors. So let's go. Back to work. So on the paddle testing roster today, we have the RPM Q2s, the 14 millimeter elongated and wide body. The Hurache-X from 11.624, the Power 2. This one's probably going to be the one I use the most today. Not the Pegasus, because I've already played through a lot with that. The Vapor as well. And then these Holbrooks. I actually really like these. I think I need to break them in a little bit more, but yeah, we got 6 hours of lessons today, and very thankful that it's air conditioned. It's almost too cold, which I'm not complaining about, but let's hop on the courts. I got 50 new Franklin balls for my students, so let's hit it. So first hour of lessons done, and that was a lot of fun. That was for a husband of one of the wives that I've been coaching for 6 months now, and she came up to me, she's like, "He keeps hitting it into the net, can you help him?" I'm like, absolutely. And we worked on a lot of fundamentals. I don't like to do too much in an hour session. I find that you need reps and really understanding the core principles of how to move in pickleball properly before you can actually start building on that. So I like to work on footwork, positioning, and just making sure that you know how to move on the court. If you don't know how to move, you're kind of screwed, in all honesty. If you have the best swing but you can't get to the ball, it kind of means nothing. So I like to focus on a couple of core fundamentals when I'm coaching. Really thinking about, okay, how can we take that volley consistently? What position do you need to be in? At what point do you switch from volleying to dinking? And I actually really like those sessions because it always helps me ingrain on, okay, what do I need to be having in my game to get consistent at the higher levels? So got a little bit of a break now for the next hour until I got the ball machine. So I'm just marking up all my Franklins because they're expensive and I buy them myself for my students and I don't want to lose them. But yeah, let's keep it going. All right, time to hit on the ball machine for like an hour and a half. The ball machine is the best training partner you'll ever have. Doesn't talk back, doesn't get tired, especially if you've got multiple batteries. And it's like simulating a 5.0 training partner. So I'm a huge proponent of using the ball machine to help you get better. So let's go. So one of my favorite drills to warm up to is one just at the baseline, just so I can get my drives and my drops and just my general touch a little bit more established before I start going too hard. So you never want to go cold into hitting hard on the ball machine because it's very exciting, but you want to just warm up those muscles in a safe way that's going to allow you to get your mechanics going, thinking about your footwork, your positioning, your swing path, and then just alternating between your drives and your drops. So today I really want to work on my cross-court drop, both from the right and the left side. And I'm really trying to focus on getting my feet set nice and early, keeping that point of contact out front of me, and really thinking about the arc and the trajectory to get that ball to land into the kitchen. Still dialing in this 11.624 Hurache-X Power 2. It's definitely stiffer than the other 11.624 Power 2s that I've been playing with, the Pegasus and the Vapor. But it just takes a little bit of an adjustment, as with anything. Getting that nice, hard, deep drive. The thing I like most about this paddle, especially on drives, is the whip effect that you can get. Really swings through almost like a tennis racket. So after I finish at the baseline with my warm-up, I come to the mid-court and get my resets warmed up. And I would say that mid-court play is probably one of the most looked over parts of pickleball, both at the beginner, intermediate, and somewhat the advanced levels. But if you can't have a good transition zone, you're gonna have a really, really tough time getting better. And big thing that you have to remember from the mid-court is that your opponent likely has an upper hand on you in terms of position. And your goal is to try and get out of this zone as much as possible. You don't want to be here any longer than you need to be. And the reason that it's so tough is because they actually have a lot of angles for you to move from. You have to be covering laterally, forward, and backwards to make sure that you're getting in front of that ball as you need to. And that's why I really like to spend time here in my drilling, getting really good at hard shots, both off the bounce and out of the air, to make sure I can get that ball into the kitchen or off at an angle to allow myself to progress up. So don't overlook your mid-court drilling. Look at it as one of the integral parts that as you're piecing your game together, you need to spend time here. And you're gonna have a lot of miss-hit shots, but I'd rather do that on the ball machine in practice and figure that out here than do it in a game and pop up the ball and lose the point. So after I work through the mid-court from the baseline, I now come to my volley. So I have a drill that goes and gives me very hard volleys with my forehand and backhand. So I can really try and work on keeping my mechanics nice and small. I don't need a big swing once I'm at my volleys. Some paddles more so than others need a compact swing, but this 11-6-24 Power 2 Hurache is quite stiff, so ball releases very fast off the face. But nice small mechanics, keeping that point of contact out front, getting that ball down right to the opponent's feet is the goal. But also knowing that you can soften up the volley. It doesn't all need to be hard. Creating angles is sometimes more important than getting power. And also a lot easier to do. So once I finish my volleys, I then switch to my cross-court dinks. And I have it set up so that it's moving me around the kitchen, short balls, going to the inside foot, outside foot. And this really allows me to work on my footwork, staying nice and consistent, keeping my swing small, keeping that ball in front of me, getting behind it. Having a variety of shots when you're at the kitchen is super critical. And the big thing is getting your feet set nice and early to get behind that ball and knowing when you can attack and when you shouldn't. Controlling pace at the kitchen is one of the most difficult things. Sorry, you just got hit there. But knowing how to speed that ball up, place it where you want, and getting those reps in practice, especially with the ball machine, makes it so that when you get to a game scenario, you actually know the mechanics on how to hit some of these more difficult shots. So after I finish my dinks, I then go to my backhand rolls. And this is one of my favorite shots to hit. It's very satisfying when you connect it properly, but mechanics, it takes a little bit of practice. So I have it alternating going for a wider shot and randomly switching to being a bit closer. But the big thing here with your roll is keep it small. Don't have a big motion. Really think about keeping that point of contact out front. And actually, sometimes the smaller motions can get more spin and more flick. And that allows you to get that ball over their shoulder with a lot of spin and keep it in. If you need to, take that step across, get that ball down. All right, so once the backhand roll is done, I go forehand. And honestly, my forehand has been much weaker than my backhand. I just haven't paid as much attention to drilling it as I need to. That's something I want to work on now, keeping that point of contact out front, nice small, get that ball down, changing up the angles. And it's really snap forward. If you're doing it properly, shouldn't ever be swinging behind your shoulder. But you also can't close the paddle out. You can't swing through too much. Just trying to find that nice balance. And obviously, this is adjusted as the ball goes up and down. The higher the ball goes, the less you have to roll it. The lower the ball is, the more you can roll it, and the more you should be rolling it to get that height. All right, so it's actually the next day. I was so tired after finishing. It was 5 hours of lessons, hour and a half of drilling on the ball machine, and then I filled in with some games for about 45 minutes for some people that needed a fourth. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think the biggest common denominator amongst all of those lessons was a lot of it is positionally based. I mean, at different skill levels and different shots, we're trying to work on different things, but I would say the number one thing that's kind of ubiquitous across the board is just the fact that your footwork and your placement determines a lot of your success in whichever shot you're trying to hit, whether you're at the kitchen and trying to get a volley or a dink, you're in the mid-court, you're at the baseline. All of it really comes down to where you're positioned and how you can move to that ball. So yeah, that's the big takeaway. I hope you guys enjoyed today's vlog where you get to come with me to work a little bit. But yeah, if you like it, let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's gonna be a lot more videos coming up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.